It is extremely difficult to really have a political map of these protests. Again, I have no choice but to compare the situation to 2009. In 2009, when the protests started, it was very obvious what the protest was about. People were kind of reacting to what they considered as a rigged election. So for the first a few days, certainly the first phase of the protests in 2009, people were primarily reacting to a rigged election, and they were basically asking where their votes were. But in 2017, 2018, we heard so many different slogans and so many different messages. Unlike 2009, there was no sense of direction. There was no sense of leadership. In 2009, in the first stage of the protest, we know that people like Kahroubi and people like Mousavi played a very important and defining leadership. But in this round of protests, there was no sense of direction. There was no sense of ideological coherence. It is interesting that you talk about foreign policy, because in so many different cities and towns, we heard slogans which had something to do with Iranian foreign policy. People were calling the regime to pay more attention to serious and drastic problems at home and leave countries like Syria, Iraq, and Palestine alone. Talking about the fact that when there are so many fundamental problems at home, there is no point to pay attention to problems elsewhere. We heard so many slogans about foreign policy, but it wasn't only about foreign policy. We also heard some slogans which, believe it or not, was about the royal family. This was the first time in 39 years we had a public demonstration where some people actively called for the return of the monarchy to Iran.